Hey everyone, are you ready for a deep dive?
Buckle up. Today we're tackling You and Me Makes Three, and let me tell you, this screenplay about a same-sex couple trying to get pregnant, it's a wild ride.
Oh, I love the screenplay.
That's such a good one.
It's so heartwarming.
And it's so funny, too.
Yes.
But it's also, like a real look at what a lot of people are going through these days. So we're talking about Alana and Amara,
Okay.
a lesbian couple in London who decide they want to start a family.
Right.
And from what I've heard, it's not your typical rom-com with a predictable pregnancy storyline. The screenplay goes deeper, touching upon the emotional, cultural, even kind of awkward sides of family planning in the 21st century.
We're talking fertility treatments, cultural expectations, evolving definitions of family. It's a lot.
It's a lot like real life, right?
And speaking of real life, the screenplay starts in a place many of us know well, stuck on a crowded London tube.
We meet Alana completely captivated by some random baby.
Meanwhile, her wife Amara is busy fending off a toddler wielding, get this, a sword.
Right, total chaos. But I love how it instantly shows us their personalities, like their different takes on the whole parenting thing.
Totally. Alana's just mesmerized by this little bundle of joy. And Amara, well, she's getting a hilarious crash course in the less glamorous side of kids.
And amidst all that, Alana just drops the bomb.
She's ready to have a baby.
I can only imagine the energy shift in that tube car.
Right, like boom, the baby-making train has left the station. And the way the screenplay handles it, it's so, it could have been a really heavy moment, but it's done with such a light touch.
Right.
And Amara's reaction, too, she's excited, but her no-pressure comment, I feel like that speaks volumes. Like couples making these huge decisions, it's got to be a delicate dance.
Absolutely, you nailed it. It's that push and pull that so many couples navigate. But then, before they even get off the train, Alana hits her with, still think you can handle being a mom?
I mean, fair question after that sword fight, right? And Amara, always the comedian, promises to be the cool mom.
Yeah, that old line, we've all heard that one. But you can tell, beneath the jokes, their relationship, it's full of love, humor, that good stuff. And I mean, the screenplay does not shy away from, the realities of what they're facing.
Right.
It's not just as easy as oh, we want to have a kid, let's have a kid. It's
it's a whole process.
It's a whole thing.
Yeah.
There's this montage, the research montage, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
I love it because it's so true. She's just drowning in pamphlets.
Pamphlets and websites and, it just never ends.
On the phone with clinics and the life is just getting sucked out of her.
Oh, yeah. And who could forget that classic turkey baster comment?
She thinks they're going to send her a turkey baster. But it shows how little a lot of people know about this stuff starting out. It doesn't matter if you're gay or straight, fertility treatments, they can be a whole new world.
For sure. But I do like how the screenplay, it balances those funny moments with the tougher stuff.
1 minute you're talking turkey basters, the next you're Googling IUI and stocking up on prenatal vitamins.
Which, for our listeners who haven't quite gotten to that stage of life yet, IUI, it's often a first-line treatment for couples experiencing infertility.
Less invasive than IVF, but still a big emotional and physical commitment for sure.
Yeah. Speaking of which, Act 3 drops a bomb, the known donor dilemma.
And just like that,
Enter
David.
Oh, David.
Who offers to be the sperm donor.
Of course he does.
And that whole scene in the pub, I was like, oh, this is a real conversation.
And it adds this whole other layer of complexity because now it's not just a medical decision, it's personal, emotional, even messy. It just goes to show that even with the best intentions, navigating these conversations requires a lot of sensitivity and open communication.
And this is where you see their dynamic too, because Amara's like, yeah, sure, whatever. His swimmers are as good as family already. And Alana's a little bit more like, whoa, hold on a second.
Maybe it makes it feel more real.
Right. Suddenly it's not this abstract concept. It's their friend, someone they know and love.
Exactly. And that's what makes the screenplay so compelling. It's shining a light on these experiences that are so often overlooked.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's doing it in a way that's both entertaining and thought-provoking.
Absolutely.
It's it doesn't shy away from those kind of awkward moments.
Right.
The nitty-gritty of it all. Remember when Amara tries on that insemination strap-on?
Yes.
I mean, come on, that's hilarious.
It's pure comedy gold. I was in tears. It was so funny.
Right. She's working it like it's a fashion show. And then her bouncing on the bed, trying to, help those swimmers along.
Who thinks of that stuff? But it's also kind of sweet,
Honestly, if my partner wasn't cracking jokes during those kinds of moments, I'd be a little freaked out.
Right. But it's those little moments of humor that make the tough parts hit even harder.
Let's talk about the emotional roller coaster that the screenplay captures so well. Those months of trying, the hope, the disappointment. It's It's a lot to process.
It really is, and the screenplay doesn't sugarcoat it. We see those negative pregnancy tests. We feel Alana and Amara's disappointment.
Especially that scene in the bathroom after the first negative test.
Oh, was it?
My heart broke for them.
Right. It's such a small moment, but so heavy with emotion. You can feel the weight of it, not just for Alana, who's going through the physical side of things, but for Amara, too. It really emphasizes that infertility is a shared experience. It affects both partners. But then just when we think we know where the story's going, the screenplay throws us a curveball.
You mean during that fateful doctor's visit?
Exactly. Just when we think the issue lies solely with Alana's ability to conceive, the doctor suggests investigating David the sperm donor as a potential factor.
Talk about a plot twist. It's a good reminder that infertility can be a complex issue with multiple factors at play.
And it leads to this really powerful and vulnerable conversation between Alana and David.
Oh man, that scene gets me every time. You see David trying to put on a brave face, joking about his swimmers being sinkers.
But you can tell it hits him hard. The possibility that something on his end might be preventing them from getting pregnant.
Of course. He's made this incredibly selfless offer to help his friends, and now there's this added layer of complexity and potential self-blame.
It's a side of male infertility that we don't often see explored so honestly. And it highlights that even though he's not the one physically undergoing the treatments, David is emotionally invested in this journey too.
And amidst all of this, we see another side of David and Tom's desire to be parents. They mention considering adoption, showing that their commitment to building a family goes beyond biology.
Exactly. It reinforces this idea that there are many paths to parenthood. And sometimes those paths are winding and unexpected.
And sometimes you just need a break from it all, a chance to reconnect as a couple.
Which is where that arcade date night comes in.
You know, life doesn't just stop because you're trying to conceive. Sometimes you just need to have some fun.
It's not about them forgetting their troubles. It's like a reminder that life goes on. And sometimes the best way to cope is to just let loose and have some fun.
Exactly. But then the screenplay takes us to this whole other level of vulnerability with that incredibly raw conversation between Alana and Amara on the bench.
Oh, man. That scene.
I know, right? Talk about a tearjerker. Amara's so open and honest about her fears. Her insecurities about being a supportive partner, a good mother.
Yeah.
You know, that fear of inadequacy, the worry that you're somehow to blame for something you can't control.
And the guilt. Remember when Amara says she feels guilty that Alana's the one going through the physical treatments? That really got to me.
Me too. It highlights the often invisible emotional labor that comes with infertility. It's a reminder that there's no one right way to experience this. It affects everyone differently.
And what's so beautiful about that scene is how Alana responds. She doesn't try to fix things or offer empty platitudes. She just listens and holds space for Amara's pain.
Exactly. It's a powerful portrayal of what it means to show up for your partner even when it's hard. And it's in that moment of vulnerability that something shifts.
Right. They get the news they've been waiting for.
Yeah.
And the way the screenplay reveals the positive pregnancy test is just brilliant.
So good. Amara's so caught up in her emotions, she doesn't even notice the test at first.
It's only when she finally allows herself to be truly seen by Alana that she sees it. Like their vulnerability unlocked something.
It's a beautiful moment. And then that outpouring of joy, Amara shouting from the rooftops, kissing the pregnancy test, I couldn't help but smile. And this film throws in one final twist.
Oh, I know what you're going to say.
Twins. In that brilliant little mid-credit scene. I mean, come on, what do you make of that? This is like they're saying, just kidding, it's about to get even crazier.
It's such a great way to leave the audience wanting more. How will they handle double the diapers? Double the feedings, double the chaos. It gets you thinking, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And it speaks to the power of this film. It sparks conversations, makes you think about these characters long after it's over.
But it's not just about their individual journeys either, right? This film makes you think about the bigger picture, too. It challenges those traditional ideas about family, wouldn't you say?
100%. I mean, here we have two women deeply in love, navigating this whole parenthood thing on their own terms. It resonates no matter who you are.
It's about showing those different perspectives, challenging those preconceived notions about what a family should look like.
And it's not just about representation either. It's about normalizing these experiences, their desire to be parents, the struggles, the joys. It's universal, right?
Totally. Their story reminds us that love, commitment, wanting a family, it doesn't matter who you are, what your background is.
And did you notice how the film handled the reactions of people around them? Amara's mom, for example.
Joy, yeah, she's great.
She's a hoot. She may not fully get it, but her love for her daughter and grandchild, so pure.
That scene where she's showing off all those baby clothes, I died.
I know.
And it's fascinating to see how Alana and Amara each handle Joy's well enthusiasm. Amara's more like, Mom, please stop. While Alana's kind of amused by it all. It's that universal feeling, isn't it? When a new baby's on the way, the whole family gets in on the excitement.
Exactly. Even with all the crazy ways the world's changing, some things stay the same. That need to nurture, to celebrate new life. And let's not forget about David.
That's some serious generosity right there. But it brings up some interesting questions too, don't you think? What does it mean to be a friend in this situation? How do those lines get blurred, especially when you're talking about creating a family?
It's a really interesting dynamic to explore.
It really makes you think about friendship. Like, how far would you go for someone you love? And with David, it's not romantic love, obviously, but it's still this incredibly powerful bond.
Definitely. It adds a whole other layer to this idea of what a family looks like. It's not always straightforward.
And that's what makes You and Me makes three so thought-provoking, right? It sticks with you, makes you think about things differently.
It reminds us that families, they come in all shapes and sizes, every single one with its own unique story.
And sometimes it's those unconventional families, those unique stories that really make you stop and think. Challenge what you thought you knew about love and family and all of that.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into Alana and Amara's story, what's the one thing you hope listeners take away from this?
Ooh, that's a good one. I'd say embrace the unexpected. Life rarely goes according to plan, right?
Especially when you're talking about having kids.
Exactly. But as You and Me makes three shows us sometimes, those unexpected twists and turns, they lead to something truly incredible.
No doubt about it.
This deep dive, whew, talk about a roller coaster of emotions. But I can't help but think about something the filmmakers mentioned. Let me find it. They're trying to raise, let me see, 25,000 pounds to bring this vision to life. Now, I don't know about you, but that number, it just screams indie filmmaking is hard, just like they said.
Right. Because let's be real, a shoestring budget for a Hollywood blockbuster is probably 10 times that.
Yeah.
Easy. So for independent filmmakers to even dream of getting their stories told, they've got to be incredibly resourceful.
And scrappy. And maybe a little bit delusional in the best way possible, of course. Because let's break down this 25,000-pound goal. What are we actually talking about here? Where does that money go?
It's film equipment, it's location permits, it's feeding the cast and crew, hopefully, more than pizza and ramen.
Hopefully.
Right.
And speaking of support, these filmmakers are getting creative with it.
Oh, yeah.
They're offering some pretty sweet perks for people who contribute. And they're not just random stuff. They're designed to connect with the people who will actually love this movie.
Like what?
Like early access to the film, behind-the-scenes stuff, set visits, even producer credits. I mean, that is cool.
Yeah, that never gets old.
Right.
It really stood out to me how they emphasized that, they're not looking for a few big investors to foot the entire bill. They're relying on, film lovers, everyday people, to chip in what they can.
Yeah, and they actually used this example. If 25,000 people each gave just £1, they'd hit their target of 25,000 pounds.
Wow.
That's crowdfunding in action, though.
It is, yeah.
Like you're building this movie brick by brick with all these little contributions.
That's a community effort, almost.
Exactly.
So that's got to be part of why they offer all those perks to their supporters, right?
100%, yeah. Crowdfunding is brilliant. It completely levels the playing field. I mean, you don't need a studio exec to give you the green light. You just need people who believe in your vision.
And who are willing to put their money where their mouth is, even if it's just £1.
You see, it's not just about donating. It's about getting something back that feels, I don't know, more tangible, more connected.
Right. It's like I'm not just giving you money and hoping for the best.
Exactly. It's like, remember that time you supported that band on, what is it, Kickstarter? Before they were huge?
Oh, yeah.
And you got that limited edition vinyl.
Exactly. It felt good to be a part of it.
That's it. That's the feeling. Like you're part of something bigger. This film needs to be told. Like, it's this story that has to be out there. It's that passion that's contagious. They're not begging for handouts. They're saying, hey, come be a part of this.
You believe in their art. You want them to succeed.
Yeah.
And you get to say you were there from the start.
And that shared experience is something you don't get from just watching something on Netflix.
And I think that's a really important aspect of this. It's not just about the money. It's about giving people a stake in a film's success from the get-go.
You become more than just a viewer. You're a supporter.
Exactly, yeah.
So putting yourself in the shoes of a film buff for a second, what kind of perk would make you want to open up your wallet and say, yeah, I want to be part of this film's story?
Ooh, that's a good question. I mean, for me, I think it would have to be something that makes you feel like an insider.
Oh, okay.
Like you're getting something truly unique, so maybe a signed script or even a prop from the film.
Oh, piece of movie history.
Right.
That's so cool. It's amazing to see how crowdfunding with these innovative perks is totally changing the game for independent film.
Oh, for sure. It's empowering a whole new generation of storytellers.
And it makes you realize that these films, they're not just products, they're passion projects fueled by a community of supporters.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about Moonlight. Such a powerful film exploring identity and sexuality with such honesty, and to think it almost didn't get made because of funding challenges.
Wow.
Imagine if those stories, those voices, were silenced because of financial barriers. It really makes you appreciate the filmmaker's tenacity even more.
Without a doubt. It makes me think about, like, the history of art and how artists have always relied on some form of patronage. Back in the Renaissance, you had these masters, Michelangelo, Da Vinci. They relied on wealthy individuals or even institutions to fund their work.
They're patrons.
Exactly. And these perks, in a way, they tap into that same spirit.
Yeah, just more modern, more accessible.
Right. So yeah, next time you're watching a film, think about the journey it took to get made, especially those indie darlings.
Yeah.
There's a good chance there's a whole group of passionate people out there, just like us, who helped bring that story to life.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Something to think about.